Phenomenal morning, phenomenal morning. So the reason for the replays is to inundate you, right? To inundate you with today's topic. This is the Breakfast with the Brand. As you know, I am your host, Sean East, the king of branding. I am flanked by none other than the phenomenal Junior Frederick, the kingpin copywriter, kingpin, and then Bobby Jackson, the phenomenal growth CFO. How's everybody doing this phenomenal morning?
Feeling amazing as usual, Sean.
Come on. Let's feel the energy. Let's turn it up.
Today I'm actually having CMOS this morning. So I skipped doing a little bit of CMOS. I've been doing it regularly for a couple of weeks now, and I feel great, guys. If you're not doing CMOS in the morning, then you're missing out.
Oh, I must be missing out. I must be missing out. Okay, phenomenal. Bobby Jackson, what's going on with you, brother, in your neck of the woods? How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling amazing, feeling great. I wanted to go for a run this morning, but it was storming out. Like it's a bad storm here, so I had to hit the bike on the inside. No excuses. Still found a way. Turned that bike up on high and hit it. So I'm feeling good. Got those endorphins going, and it's always great to start the morning like that. So I'm excited to let some of that energy transfer and flow over into the Breakfast with the Brand this morning. Feeling amazing.
Very good, very good. So I guess what you're talking about and what Junior's talking about. So Junior's talking about if you're not doing, right, something he's doing regularly. How you said you've been on it for weeks now. You said, right?
Oh yeah, man. I've been really taking little micro steps to improve my health. So that's like one of the steps that I did, which is
very good, very good. And Bobby, you said that you've been hitting this regularly. You're a regular runner. That's one of the things that you do.
Right. And this is my long run. So on my Sunday or Saturday mornings, I like to hit it at about 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning and just run till the sun comes up. So
Nice. One of the things that I always say is beat the sun up. Beat the sun up. Like the sun is your first opponent. The sun is your first adversary. You want to beat the sun up consistently. And honestly, just talking about the CMOS, Junior, when I grew up, one of my areas was the Bronx and then Harlem, and they always had these ackee and saltfish spots.
Oh man.
The ackee.
Don't get me started.
Oh man, the callaloo in the morning with the porridge and the ackee and the callaloo. Nobody knows. Like I gotta go. Like you're taking me back. But they had two things that I used to get regularly. One of them was peanut punch, and the other one was CMOS. Now, this was long before anybody was talking about CMOS. I mean, I must have been maybe 17, 19, and used to get the bottle and hit the bottom of the bottle like I was grown and just do the Irish CMOS in the morning. So nice, so good. It had a minty aftertaste.
Oh yeah, Sean. And you know the Jamaican ackee. So it's Jamaican ackee. It's absolutely amazing, man. We mix that with saltfish, and then we have like different they have technically vegetables, but we call them like ground provisions. So you have dasheen, banana, and there's an interesting story. So when Usain Bolt went to the Olympics and he won, they wanted to test him because of how fast he was able to run. And when they took him to the lab, they did the test. They said, like, this guy must be on something. And then they asked him, like, what did you take? He said, he said he had saltfish, ackee, and yam. That's it.
Ackee, saltfish, and yam.
That's it. And he was able to break a world record, man. And today, the record still stands.
Come on. That was one of my favorite breakfasts, man. That was one of my favorite breakfasts. The callaloo with the ackee in the morning, unbelievable. You know, shout out to everybody watching this morning because you're consistent, right? You're consistently with us, and we appreciate you. Again, this is the Breakfast with the Brand. We are glad to have you. Shout out to everybody that's here on a Saturday morning, especially like Bobby said, if it's storming where you are, right? So I went out, I worked out outside this morning, right? So everybody's like on this consistency kick. And I want to ask you, like, where is your consistency showing up or falling short? Where is your consistency showing up or falling short? Everybody knows the last book was The $1 Billion Brand, but let me help you understand something. You won't have a 6-figure brand if you can't be consistent. You'll never get from a 6-figure brand to a 7-figure brand if you're not consistent. As a matter of fact, you won't even get a promotion on your job if you're not consistent. It will never happen. Like what the dreams that you have, the goals that you have, the relationship that you want to have with yourself, with your body, with your health, with your spouse, with your bank account. Those things will never happen if you don't have consistency. And consistency requires a couple different things, and we're going to talk about them today. One of those keys being discipline. Repetition deepens the impression. I've said it from the very beginning, right? And business is like a muscle. Revenue is like a muscle. Relationship is like a muscle. And if you don't cultivate the muscle consistently, then it begins to atrophy, which means it erodes. It cannibalizes itself. It eats itself. So ask yourself, where am I showing up consistently? Because that's where you're good. I always told people, I said, show me your bank account and I'll show you where your values are. Because everybody says, my family first. People have tattoos that say family first, but if you look at their bank account, very little of the revenue is invested in the family. Where you consistently spend your money and your time, that's where your consistency is, and that's where your growth takes place. So people wonder why the business isn't growing, and the reason why the business isn't growing is because of X. Or people wonder, why don't I have the 6-pack abs that I had when I was 14? And the reason why you don't have the 6-pack abs that you had when you was 14, because when you was 14, you was running around consistently burning. You stayed in a state of thermogenesis. And now you're in a state of Netflix genesis. Right? So we're going to talk about consistency today, habits that you have or don't have, some that you can cultivate. And we're going to add in a little bit of a challenge, namely the ultimate brand challenge this weekend. Right? So you want to be consistent, you want to show up, and you just want to make sure that whatever it is that you say your values are, you say that your morals are, and you say where your principles land, your morals, values, and principles, you want to make sure that your consistency shows up there as well. We'll be right back. This is The Breakfast with the Brand. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, guys, so we're back. Breakfast with the Brand. I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's looking. Sean, as we normally do. So I want to send a quick shout out to Travis. And by the way, guys, put it in the comments, like, where are you listening from? Now, Sean, this is something that we used to do all the time. And we used to have people from Africa, from India, from the UK, from the islands, Jamaica, etc., etc.
That's right.
So, guys, put it in the comments. I want to give you a shout out, but I want to know where you're listening in from. So let's get it going. So I see Travis. Travis, shout out to you. Jasmine, Washington. Sean, I noticed Jasmine has been on for a couple of weeks now. So by the way, we notice when we have new people come in, and we also notice the consistency, like when you guys stay and you keep coming back. I just want to say that. So shout out to Jasmine, Keishan, Dr. Michelle, shout out to you. We have some people on Facebook that I can't see. So if you could put your name when you make your comment, then I'll give you a quick shout out. Rochelle, currently in the UK, I believe. Shout out to you. Tia Rogers. So Tia is from Camden, New Jersey. We have Atlanta, Georgia. That must be Olivia Russell.
Okay. I noticed you said the UK. So just so everybody understands, like, we are an international brand. You have the capacity, if you're consistent, to reach outside of your location, not only your location, your geography completely, but it will require consistency to breach boundaries. Let's go.
Yes, sir. We have some more people from New York. Somebody said, look at that, the Cayman Islands.
Come on, let's go. Come on, share this out, guys. Share this out.
Caribbean in the building. I want to send a special shout out to my Caribbean people. Yeah, so Cayman Islands in the building. So Sean, today we were talking about consistency, I believe. And before we got on, I was talking about my CMOS. Bobby was talking about his workout. Before we get into it, I just want to say, when it comes to consistency, something that I've noticed a lot of people do, and I used to be guilty of it myself, is, starting and stopping thing, right? The whole starting and stopping thing. And I think when we don't see results for a short period of time, we sometimes stop. Now, I can compare this with working out. So it's said that when you work out, it takes about, I think, 14 days consistently, or 21 days consistently, for the outside world to notice changes. Here's the cool thing. The people on the outside notice changes before you do. So this means it's going to take a little bit more than 3 weeks of you doing something consistently for people to actually see change. And then within about 5 weeks, that's when you start to see your own results when you look in the mirror. So I want to pass this off to Bobby. So Bobby, tell us a little bit about your workout routine and consistency and how you sort of execute on that.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal question, because I have so many different experiences to draw from military experience when it comes to consistency and workout routines and just getting things done in a way that compounds your results. So before I dive into my routines and different things that I've done, I want to put out there that a lot of us are looking for an exponential return on investment. And I don't think you're wrong for looking for that. However, exponential returns come from compounding effects. And what I've learned from finance and from just life in general is that if there is not a consistency mechanism, then there is not a compounding mechanism. For example, if you look at the stock market, there is a concept that says if you just invest $20 a day in a simple investment that returns consistently, and you just invest in that, over time, you will make out better than the individual that, say, makes 1 or 2 really good bets and a lot of bad bets. And the reason you win is because consistency has a way of reducing the impact of negative experiences. I'll say that again.
Please do.
Consistency has a way of reducing the impact of negative experiences. So if you are consistently selling and you have a bad week, that might be a negative experience. But I'll put it to you like this. If you're consistently filling your pipeline, marketing effectively, and you have a bad week, then the effects of you poorly and inconsistently marketing and then having a bad week will be astronomically more negative than if you were consistently selling, consistently filling your pipeline, and having a bad week. So the power of consistency really lies not only in your ability to get a compounded return on investment, but also to weather the ups and downs, ebbs and flows of business. Because the downs are coming. As the coach has taught me, the bear is at your back at all times. So when that bear is at your back, you want to be consistently strengthening those leg muscles so that you can outrun it when you find yourself caught up. So I wanted to lean in with that before I made this point and passed it over to Coach Sean Raiz to kind of break things down a little bit more. But the point about the military and my workout schedule and how I do things is that I learned, because this is it's a skill set, so I want to make sure I phrase it right. What I learned was that consistency has the ability to establish habits for you. It's really interesting. So imagine you didn't have a habit, like you wanted to cultivate a habit, but you didn't have it. If you do something consistently, over time, it'll become a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it becomes a behavior. And once it becomes a behavior, it becomes a part of your programming. So that's one thing that I've learned to do, because sometimes people can look at habits as being hard to acquire. And when we get to the Marine Corps, a lot of us have bad habits, and they don't break our bad habits as many people might think. What they do is they force us into chambers of consistency, and those chambers of consistency replace our habits. And from that habit replacement, behaviors are formed, and then lo and behold, left, right, Leo. That's my piece on that.
Whew. Okay, so let me tell you this. If you didn't write anything down yet, you're missing out. Let me just say that. When you see me leaning over to the side and you see Bobby with his hand moving over to the side, it's because we're writing. Right? That's why. It's because we're writing. If you haven't written anything down yet, you're missing out. So share this out so someone else can start writing. Use your hand on that little mouse pad and share this out so somebody else. Listen, the more you share, the more you care. The more you share, the more you care. And people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Help the people. Trust me, I guarantee you that's that compound interest Bobby was talking about. And it relates to what Junior was saying, because you don't see it. It accumulates. It accumulates. It's what happens in the vacuum. People are praised in the light for what happens in the darkness. Just so everybody, nobody knew me when I was riding the Long Island Railroad, going back and forth in my second year in my bachelor's degree. Nobody knew me, right? So, but now everybody does, right? So nobody knows those things, but those things accumulated every single day consistently over time. Here we are. The proof speaks for itself. Bobby was running in the military while I was doing it. Junior was running up Kilimanjaro while I was doing it, right? So everybody has their consistency, practicing the copy. What are you doing consistently in your moment of darkness that people will praise you for in the light? So I wrote a couple things down. The first thing I wrote down is, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Everybody talks about a why, but the inconsistency, I wrote this down when Junior was talking, your inconsistency begs the question, why are you doing it? If you're inconsistent, you need a bigger why. And what I learned to do is to connect my whys to who's. Literally, I put a name and a face on it. My son's face is on my momentum in the morning. My wife's face, name and face is on my momentum in the afternoon. When things begin to wane down and I start to, feel a little bit of a lapse or a lag, my daughter's name and face is on my momentum. You have to master your momentum, and sometimes you have to put a person's face there, because if it's only for you, you're going to slow down. If people say, well, I'm going to go live, but I'm embarrassed to go live. I've never gone live before. People don't know me. People don't respond to me. If it's only you, you're going to stop. If you are the only reason why you're doing it, if money is the only reason why you're doing it, if a belt is the only reason why you're doing it, then you won't be consistent. Convert your whys into whos, and convert your inconsistency to consistency. Number 2, intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is the reason why you get up and do what you do. So I got up extremely early this morning, and it's the same way, right? So I'm in a close location, like it's raining here too. But I decided, because of the lag and the fact that I could just lay back down and have another hour, I said, you know what? I'm not even going to go in the gym and work out. I'm going to go outside and work out in the rain. Why? Because it's harder. It's colder. It's harsher. And most people won't do that. When it rains, it pours. And people want to go back to sleep and snore, right? I'm like everybody else. So I have the same inclinations. But if you follow your inclination, then later you'll have to have an explanation as to why things are not the way that you would like them to be. Because everybody's counting on you. Everybody's counting on you. So I want you to think about who's counting on you. Because when you wake up, there's bill collectors, right? And people don't equate their workout in the morning with being able to pay the bill in the afternoon. The bill collector's coming. Bobby relates it to the bear. And I always say the bear is coming. Like, you are in the wilderness and the bear is present always. You can, if you slow down, you'll hear it. If you calm down, you'll smell it. Like, it's right on your neck. This is why I say add a zero to your revenue. Add a zero, but listen to this. Before you can add a zero to your revenue, you have to add a zero to you. So your intrinsic motivation, the way you move when no one's looking, will impact your extrinsic ability after the fact, when everybody is looking. If you don't want to be embarrassed when people start looking, then you better get to work while nobody's looking. Because it's what we do in the dark that we get praised for in the light. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. Number 3, consistency plus intensity equals invincibility. Bobby said that it becomes your habit. I'm going to go a little bit further and say it becomes who you are. It becomes who you are. And you've heard Junior talk about this when we talk about identity. You don't have to tell a non-smoker not to smoke because it doesn't agree with their identity. They don't do it. They would never do it. It's not who they are. Even if at one time their identity was a smoker. The fact that their identity changed based on their behavior, based on their goals, based on their actions. You get to the root of it. Get to the root of why you do what you do, and you can change who you are. Consistency plus intensity becomes invincibility. I guarantee you, it's like momentum. It's like a freight train. Very hard to stop. Impossible, breaks through mountains. The hardest part of a freight train and the slowest part and the most unempowered part of a freight train's momentum is at the very beginning. And that's why at the very beginning, you want to connect your whys to your whos and put that dream to the discipline. So there's a gap in discipline sometimes. This is what I see often. There's a gap in discipline. But when there's a gap in discipline, people have an inadequate dream. Their dream doesn't fuel the fire to keep going. That's what I want to, really instill. Like, what is your dream? Because when you're dedicated to the dream, the discipline takes care of itself. So when you say I'm inconsistent, I know I should be going live. I know I should be touching the people. I know I should be making the sales calls. I want you to ask yourself, why aren't you dedicated to the dream? Why aren't you dedicated to the dream? When you wake up in the morning and you see other people buzzing about, just running and zipping and running behind their dreams and their goals, what gives you the ability to stop? So this question is what I want you to ask yourself primarily. Is your dream deep enough? Is your dream deep enough? You are what you do, not what you say. Point number 4. Everybody says I'm a this, I'm a coach, I'm a this. You know, no. Coaches coach, speakers speak, and consultants consult. Speakers speak, coaches coach, consultants consult. People who do it don't have to say it. I don't have to say I'm a speaker. Nobody have to ask. I don't have to tell anybody I'm a speaker, because every time you turn around, you hear me speaking. Every time you turn around, you get an email from us. We're marketing. I don't have to say I'm a marketer. I don't have to say I'm a coach, because we're going to put a link up when we come back. And if you click on the link, we're going to coach you right after this session. This is not what we say. It's what we do. And what you do is who you are. Last point, you are what you do most of the time. 24 hours in a day. How many of those hours do you spend in your gift? And how many of those hours do you just come out of your mouth? The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Raiz. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
Man, what a breakdown. What a breakdown, because I feel like that commercial, that break was so timely, because what it had me thinking about throughout the entire commercial was, is the dream deep enough? And as I was watching each of the images and I was listening to the music, what I saw was just different people, different walks of life, different lineages and generations. And I thought to myself, you know, here the brand is diversifying the face of leadership, and you saw all of those different faces. So it made me think, for everybody that's watching, how can you tell that your dream is progressing?
Come on, let's go.
That's what like really hit me in the chest, was like, if we're consistent and we are actively aggressing our dream, we should be able to look back over experiences and see buddings or flourishings, the foliage, if you will, of the trees starting to just take shape and take root. So I'd like everybody, just to take a second to think about your dream, think about your vision, and then look over the last 6 months. And if you can't find any foliage, if you can't see anything that resembles what you've been working for, now might be a time to reassess. Maybe we're not using the right fertilizer. Maybe we aren't in the right soil. Maybe we've got the right seed, but we're not using enough water. In other words, maybe we're everything we need to be, but we're not leveraging every resource we have effectively. And that's very important. So with the Ultimate Brand Challenge coming up, I think that would be kind of like soil testing. I don't know if you guys ever seen that. Like, I grew up a little bit on a farm, not too long, but my grandma, she had like a green potato or tomatoes, potatoes, and watermelon. And we could grow on the farm. And sometimes you would have to test the soil to see if it's good, if it's ready and right for putting seed in the ground. And there's nothing wrong with testing soil, finding out it needs some fertilizing. It's better to know the soil isn't ready and treat the soil than to assume that it's good, waste your seed, waste your time, waste your energy to find out that the soil wasn't good.
Wow.
Seed is perfect. Your energy, immaculate. Your vision and dream and your desire to have that wonderful Thanksgiving, all pure in intention. But the soil is required to reap that harvest. So that's one thing that I just wanted to really tap in and lean in on before I give like one piece of thought that I had on the consistency piece and pass it to Junior here. But like, yeah, just think about that, because the Ultimate Brand Challenge, the way I'm seeing it right now, because I plan to be there, sure, right? And the way I'm seeing it is take my soil, test my soil, and find out if it's good. And if it's not, while I'm there, I need to get what I need to improve it, because Q4 is almost here, right? So that's that piece. For me, the takeaway that I wrote down was, and this was more of a thought and a caveat here, but consistency has a fragrance. That's what I wrote down. Consistency has a fragrance. When you're around consistent people, they look and smell, oddly enough, a certain way. It's almost like you can walk into the gym, and this may be, a very bold analogy, but it's a good one. It's very easy to understand. When you walk into the gym, you see individuals that stay in the gym, and you see individuals that are there for the first time, or maybe there for the second week or two. And in the Marine Corps, everybody's fit, right? So you can't be not fit and in the Corps, right? They're just visiting. But then when you go to the Marine Corps gym, you got Marines that are what we call gym rats. So they live in the gym. And then you've got those other Marines that are physically fit, and they're just training for their either physical fitness test, PFT, or their combat fitness test, CFT. And the thing that I wanted to leave with you guys is this. When you walk past a gym rat, they're a gym rat. Their t-shirts barely fit. Their water bottle has got like creatine, something in it. And then they've got like a sweat rag or something that they just throw and wipe. And then you've got these other guys that are just visiting. The guys that are just visiting have Jordans on. They got like a 2-piece fit. They got a fitted cap in their headphones, and they're pumping weight. They got their phones with the gym rack. You just like, what in the world? So I just want to let you guys know, people can see your consistency. They can smell it. They can feel it. They know it. When you pop on and you go live for the first time in 2 weeks, they know it. When you go live for the first time in 3 months, they know it. When you go live every day, every Saturday at 8 a.m. with your team, with your vision, with your goals, with your tenacity, endurance, and faith for the dream, they know it. So consistency is one of those things you just can't hide. That's my piece. What do you think, Junior?
Bobby, you said so much, man. I've written literally down so much. I don't even know where to start. So the first question you asked, you said, how do you know when your dream is beginning to take shape? And I wrote down, when who you are and who you want to be start to look like one and the same thing. So when who you are and who you want to be start to look like one and the same thing. And I agree with you 100% when you say that consistency has a fragrance. I'll say consistency has an energy. Consistency has an energy. Sloppiness has an energy. Like Olivia is saying in the comments, luxury has a fragrance. Luxury has an energy, right? And it's, you just feel it. You just feel it. You just feel like, you just know. There are certain things that you don't, like, nobody has to tell you, you just know. Like, you know, okay, this is the real deal. This is the real guy. This is the authentic person. Or you know that, hey, I probably shouldn't play with this person. You just know. You just know. And I think there's a certain kind of energy that sort of comes off. I use the example of James Bond. Right. So James Bond has a very, very interesting way. In fact, Sean, when we did Closing Like a Leader, there was a concept inside Closing Like a Leader where we sort of compared James Bond. What was it? Remind us what it was. You know what I'm talking about.
It's the closer. The closer has a creed. The closer, you don't have to identify the closer as a closer. The closer is who he is. They look like a closer. Like Bobby said, they smell like a closer. They're dangerous. Go ahead.
There's a certain word that I'm looking for. It's something that you taught, and it just eludes me right now. But
if you're looking for one word, brother, I promise you, we done taught so many programs.
But basically, guys, it's something you just know. It's something you just know. It's a certain style, right? It's a certain style. And I wrote this down as well. I wrote down, if you do what is easy, life will be hard. If you do what is hard, life will be easy. So the people who are the gym rats, like, they're doing what is hard. So when you go to the gym and you encounter them, and you're looking at, let's say, 5 plates, 4 plates, whatever, they're like, hey, that's nothing. That's not, and they just have this calm about them because they've actually been through the storm, and you can tell, like, they're not freaking out about anything, and they just handle it, and it's absolute magic. It's just that sort of presence. It's just presence. It's actually energy. And and what's so interesting, Sean, if we want to get a little bit more into the evidence base and the scientific side of it, it's said that every human being, like everybody, so all of you looking, all of us on this panel, every human being has like an energy field emanating from around them. Everything, every living thing, the earth included, the earth as an entity has this energy field that is coming out from the top and the bottom, right? And when you walk into a room, so people say, he came into the room and his energy just filled the room. That's a real thing. And scientists have been able to measure that energy field. This is actually evidence-based. And it said that regular people, their energy spans about 10 feet. So if I'm 10 feet away, you can feel my energy. Now, for people who are vibrating at a much higher level, you should be able to feel them from about 30 feet away. Literally, you can literally set up instruments to measure the energy that somebody's giving off if they're vibrating at a super high level from 30 feet away. So when you talk about confidence, when you talk about consistency, having an energy, having a fragrance. It's definitely an energy, Bobby, and they're vibrating at a super high level. And the people who are very receptive, they can feel that energy. They can feel that energy from, you know, a long way away, right? And I wanna say something that Sean spoke about before I pass it off. So Sean spoke about, or rather, he asked the question, who's counting on you? Who's counting on you? And we always say when you turn your why into a who, that's when the magic happens. So something that I've been embracing over the last few weeks, Sean. So in addition to my CMOS, something that I'm doing every day is when I work out in the morning, I'm taking my son with me when I work out. Now, just for some context, my son is he's about 7 months old, right? So he can't walk, he can't talk, none of that. But I sit him in his chair, okay, his little rocking chair, and he just watches me work out. He just watches me work out. So creating that, or rather giving off that good example, when he gets to be 5 years old, 10 years old, he'll be like, I've been working out my whole life. You know, I've been literally working out his entire life, even before he could walk or talk. So guys, when you talk about who's counting on you, I want you to really think about it. Who's counting on you? Is it a spouse? Is it your kid? Is it your team? You know, is it somebody else that you care about? Is it a friend? That's a real thing. And when we turn our whys into who's, then it becomes effortless. So my son, just quick side note, my son does CMOS as well. So he does his CMOS as well. He does his we juice watermelon every day. So he's living better than I am, a lot better than I am when I was his age.
That's right.
So guys, and part of the reason I decided to do that was because of him. I'm like, okay, am I really gonna bring him up with unhealthy habits, you know, not working out, eating the wrong things and all that? So I said, okay, you know what, well, let me do this and let me give him the right example from a baby so that, you know, the trajectory as he grows up could be at a super high level, right? So I turn my why into a who, and then I remain consistent to this day. I have my CMOS right here. It's right here as I'm talking to you. So I'm remaining consistent up until the very moment that I'm talking to you. So guys, like Sean was saying, turn your why into a who, and you can do anything. 100%.
Wow. Well, I don't we're gonna go to a break real quick because I think what these two gentlemen said can fill the room, right? Fill the room and wrap around the earth a couple times. But I did just want to say, as Junior showed his CMOS, and as Bobby alluded to the water bottle and the differences in water bottles, this is what mine looks like. We'll be right back. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. Yes. Run real quick, guys. Listen. Just think about the size of your water bottle. What does your water bottle look like? Is it a baby bottle? I know Junior got a baby. He got a baby, so his young son has a baby bottle. What does your water bottle look like? And relate that to your consistency. What does your consistency look like? Are you, now we done talked, Junior and Bobby, about the bear and the bear cub. The bear and the bear cub. So who's chasing you? Think about your responsibilities and think about your consistency. Who's chasing you? in your life? Is it small responsibilities that you're owning up to? Or are your responsibilities huge and scary? Are you walking or talking? So as you see different videos of mine, you'll see me, like Bobby said, walking with the people, talking with the people, different places, shaking hands with the people, people's faces in different places. Are you walking? Are you walking out your dream? Are you walking out your gift? Or are you talking about the things that you're going to do, hopefully, if you gain the consistency? And what does that really look like? Who are you touching? These are some things that I wrote down. Who are you touching? Are you touching the people? Because, you know, if you're not touching the people, then what did we say, Junior, when we started, when COVID opened up, we said, are we going to stay on the Zoom or get in the room? Are you on Zoom or in the room? So right now we're on StreamYard, but as everybody knows, we have many frequent flyer miles and we touch people consistently. As a matter of fact, pretty soon you're going to see a video where we are all together doing the Breakfast with the Brand. Just get ready for it. Just get ready for it. Who are you touching? Bobby said that you have everything that it takes for you to be successful, but are you consistent enough? So you have everything that you need, but are you doing what it takes? We all have the same 5 fingers, most of us, right? Same 5 fingers on each hand, same five toes on each foot. But what are you doing with them? What are you doing with them to be consistent? Are you being consistent? Are you maximizing and optimizing your potential is the question. Are you maximizing or optimizing your potential? Why? Because faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. So if you're not sowing, everybody wants to reap. Everybody wants to move into the season of reaping and fast forward the season of reaping, and everybody wants to eat and everybody wants to, you know, party up and everybody wants the cars, the house, the clothes. But who's doing the sowing? And everybody wants a team, but why do you want a team? Do you want a team because you don't want to work? Or is your work contributing to the work and the work spirit and the work ethic of the team? Who are you on the team? Are you leading the team or is the team leading you? Are you feeding the people or are the people feeding you? What does your work ethic really look like? Are you consistent? You know, I have this thing, Bobby, and you know, you said something about a soil test. I love that analogy because I have a mirror test. Every morning, I look in the mirror and just check myself to make sure that I'm going to stay attuned to who I am. So before I walk out, this is why I did the $1 Billion Brand. And this is why we wrote the book the way we did. And we have the $1 Billion Planner because my steps are intentional. I don't do anything by mistake or just because. I'm very spontaneous, but I'm very spontaneous with intentionality. This is why we have a planner. If you don't plan your steps, then your steps will be planned for you. You might want to underline that. If you don't plan your steps, then your steps will be planned for you. And let me tell you the reality of it. The reality of it is I grew up in Harlem, New York. I always say the old Harlem, and my steps were planned for me until I planned my steps. So I fell into all of the traps that were set. I went to all of the schools that were abandoned. Please understand it. There was an energy, like Junior talked about, there was an energy within those schools. And some people talk about the school to prison pipeline. That's an energy, that's a frequency. And if you don't plan your steps, then your steps will be planned for you and you'll fall into the plan of someone else. So, you understand? If you got student loans, that was planned for you. If you got a job that's not giving you the time that you want, that was planned for you. If you got a situation where you're not living where you want to live and you wake up to sirens like a movie is on, like Power's on, and that's your reality, that was planned for you. The way you change that is by planning your steps differently. I had to march to the beat of a different drummer. I had to become the orchestrator of my own play. Are you becoming the orchestrator or a bystander? Are you the narrator? Or are you just listening and obeying the narrative? When I grew up, I was obeying the narrative. I did the things that people do. I had to shift that and do the things that bosses do the things that CEOs do. And I'm not talking about $1 million, because $1 million is easy to come by. Very easy to come by. Easy come, easy go. So you need to have a higher objective. And how do you say? Vibrate at a different octave. I hope you're following me. I really hope you're following. I'm trying to stay grounded, guys. Listen, the Ultimate Brand Challenge is this weekend coming up. If you haven't put that link in your browser, put that link in your browser and go ahead and sign up for what we're talking about, because I guarantee you that this will change your life. What we're talking about changes lives. You have the right life. You are the right person, but you need to reorient your steps. You need to reorient your consistency. That's the only difference. We're human beings. Millionaires, billionaires, and bums on the street are the same people. They vibrate at different levels and they march to the beat of a different drummer. We get to choose. We really do. We get to choose who we are. We get to choose who our children's parents will be. Bobby Jr. said that my child is doing things that I never have done when I was his age. That's because he's a different parent than his parents were. And not to take anything away from his parents, but he's got a different vision. What is your vision? What is your vision for your children's children's children? Do you have one? Is it written down? What is your plan to make it a reality? Faith without works is dead. What are you sowing? What are you actively working in? The consistency piece. What does it look like? And then finally, do you think you'll be able to say that you believe and you won't be tested? So Bobby wanted to run this morning and there was a storm. Great. Now what? Go back to bed? No, it's a test. What do? You keep it moving. You keep it driving. So they had preordained steps for me as a young black man in Harlem, New York. There were preordained steps. You hear me say it all the time in different reels and different videos. Leadership was not the choice that they made for us. Okay, now what? Cry about it? Whine about it? Economic disempowerment, racial inequality. Okay, great. Now what? Disparaging economic opportunities. Okay, now what? Gentrification. Okay, now what? It wasn't fair. Okay, didn't have my parents when I was growing up. Okay, great. Phenomenal. Let's get to work or cry about it. And if we cry about it, I said this in the 7 prerequisites to success. For God's sakes, if we cry about it, what are the babies going to do? What will become of them? What job would Junior's child have if he was to take the child's job and cry all the time? Don't take the baby's job. Do your job as a man and as a woman. Be consistent. Show up. Put that link in the browser if you have any problems with consistency, and we'll show you how it gets done.
Hey, Sean, I think some people are asking to drop the link in the comments, if that's possible. So, guys, the link for the challenge is actually the one that you see on your screen right now. It should be floating somewhere at the bottom there. I know we almost out of time, so I just want to say one thing quickly, then I'll pass over to Bobby. So while Sean was speaking, one thing I wrote down, in fact, 2 things, was why do we give away our power? So why do we give away our power? And then I also wrote down that we must reject the realities that no longer serve us. So the realities that Sean is talking about, you know, where he's from, growing up in Harlem, seeing what he saw, experiencing what he experienced, Sean could have accepted those realities as his own, but he chose to not do that and to create his own reality. So how are you curating and creating your own reality or the realities that you want? And are you rejecting the realities given to you that take away your power? And just to say it again, I think the link is in the comments. For all the people asking, this is the link for the challenge right now. So click that link, register. Bobby.
Definitely. And excellent points, Junior. I agree with each of those. The parting remark that I would have is consistency is tested when obstacles disrupt your habits. So I think that a lot of times consistency is a habit. And when you've got a habit built up, it's almost autopilot. You don't even think about it. And I think that that's great and it's beneficial and it helps to compound your returns. But I think a lot of us don't just struggle with developing consistency. Some of us may even develop the habit and have consistency. Where you may struggle is developing fortitude, which is necessary for maintaining consistency in the face of insurmountable appearing obstacles and adversities. So I just wanted to let you all know that if you feel like you have solid consistency, but you've been thrown off the horse, the bull is bucking back and you need to dive a bit deeper, you need to find something to really hold on to and sink into so that you can stay on track. The Ultimate Brand Challenge is the place to be. Like, get in there, get in those rooms, get in those conversations and find out what does it look like when the bull is bucking back and you've got to hold on. That's, I believe, is a true test of your consistency and your character.
Very good. Very good. Definitely. Couldn't have said it better myself. A couple of different things that come to mind as we close is the word resilience. The word resilience, the word grit, the word perseverance, the word tenacity, faith, belief, overcoming. These are words that come to my mind as I think about challenges, right? And the challenges that lie ahead. Guys, we're switching right over into a one-on-one kind of one-on mini situation. If you guys put the link in the browser, Brand Mentorship, Bitly Brand Mentorship, then you'll come into a coaching session where we'll go a little bit deeper with you guys. But I want to close on confidence. Confidence is the ability to overcome what Bobby was alluding to. And what I used that Junior talked about when I was growing up in Harlem, there had to be a level of confidence for me to even apply to school. A lot of people aren't even applying to the situations that they could be doing. Like, you don't understand what kind of powers you really, really have. Nobody really understands. Like, when you tap into that, when you unleash that beast inside of you, like, we've all got it. I always told people there's nothing special about Sean Wright East. What's special about me is what I do. And what I do is available to you. What I do is available to you. So that means the results are available to you too. Because that's the mystery. The mystery is not in the who. The mystery is in doing what you execute on. And we talked about this in the last session. We're actually in the middle of a course right now called the $1 Billion Brand. It's branded like a leader 2.0. And that was the last piece that we just gave up, the execution piece, which is the reason why we have dreamers and becomers. The way that your dream becomes a reality is through determination, discipline, and execution. So execute on that link in the bottom, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. This has been another edition of The Breakfast with the Brand. Let's grow. Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle.